The transcript to start. Hello everyone, this is Tom from SSW, and today we're going through the YakShaver sprint review and retro. I have the email here. We had 2 sprint goals last week. Roll out YakShaver to the first customer on the waitlist, which is still in progress, and add static branding to all the videos. That is currently still in progress, but there's a PR in the backlog to review it.
Does that mean they're the same goals for next week?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
3rd week's a charm.
Okay.
So who do we have here? Michael. Lewis.
Can you make the email full screen, by the way?
Yes,
Tom?
sorry. My bad. That's full screen and zoom to. Is that big enough for everyone?
That's huge. Love it.
That's perfect.
Adam, Rob, Rick, Caleb,
I can come back.
Tom,
Yuli.
Eddie, and Yuli. So
And Rob.
let's.
Yeah, we got Rob.
Yeah, Rob is in
Steven.
there. Steven,
Steven.
thank you. I
Steven,
knew
of
I had
course.
forgotten someone. So our last sprint, everyone was basically 5 days except Rick and Callum. Both of them were partially on client work as well as on not sprint reviews. What is it? Spec reviews. So here's the sprint backlog. So as you can see, we have a whole bunch of dones, but there are a few specific ones that I want to talk about. One of them is this bug here that has been fixed. There were issues with YakShaver being unable to create PBIs in Dynamics. That was just due to some syncing issues, and that has been resolved. We added some additional tests to YakShaver to prevent PBIs to be created with 0-second videos in the PBI. That has been fixed as well. We've done the rollout test V2 with Lewis and Yuli, and that generated a few PBIs that we are planning to finish up in the next sprint. Hence, our sprint goal wasn't met fully this week. We also fixed a bug that caused missing videos in PBIs. That was a big one, as that was caused by projects in YakShaver be assigned with the wrong YouTube account. This specific one was a branded account that does not support OAuth, and hence the PBIs that were linked to that project had missing videos due to YakShaver being unable to upload those videos. And the last one that I want to talk about is currently in review, which has to do with the watermarking static videos. And that was the second sprint goal in the list.
So how close did we get on that, Stephen? How close were you?
It's just under review now. It's almost down.
When was it actually finished?
This morning I submitted the first review, and Tom made some comments, and I spent this morning address those comments, and we had some issue on there was a conflict to merge into main. So when I tried to resolve the conflicts, there was an issue on the front end, and I called Tom. We resolved it together. So,
okay, and if Tom had no comments, would have it got deployed?
We haven't went to the second review yet.
No. If Tom
Hypothetically,
let's just say Tom didn't complain, said, "Good job, Stephen," would have it got deployed?
Yeah, maybe.
I would say
Okay,
no. because there were some front-end issues which caused the build to fail.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
let's just pretend, use your imagination that you had no complaints, everything went perfect. This type of thing, I would have called up somebody not on the team, such as Julie, or you know, anybody that does YakShaves like Michaela, and say, can you quickly just do a test YakShave, and then check that the output, the video that's produced, which will be a little different than you used to, whether it looks all right, and then deploy it with, you know, check by Michaela. Like any of these changes, it's good that Tom's reviewing the code, but the whole experience of changes like this should be checked by somebody outside the team, I think. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. And then I can complain to Michaela and say, why did you approve that when it's chops off the last half a second?
Right.
Okay. Yeah. I'm just noticing this a lot with this particular team. There's a lot of just stuff that gets deployed quickly.
Yep. Any other questions to any of the released or discussed features?
Well, the one that the other sprint goal, where bold that one?
The other sprint goal
That was the
that
test
was
YakShaver rollout
yes.
V2.
Right. And who?
And that was done in that the test was done, but we found some bugs as part of it, so we weren't able to actually roll it out.
Right. Who found those bugs?
That was Yuli and Louis, right?
All right. Great job, Yuli and Louis, because, you know, Louis is definitely not part of the team, neither is Yuli. So that's awesome. Yeah. Yes. I'm really happy with that. So, and good job that Microsoft have given it a pass. It's just we're not giving it a pass.
Yep.
Why didn't Microsoft find these bugs?
They just need to make sure it works.
Right. They don't care about this type of stuff.
Yeah, I think this is more sort of usability rather than functionality. So Microsoft was testing functionality, we're testing usability.
Right. Fair enough. Okay.
Cool.
Just one thing, when you're fixing a bug, like especially with the prompt or anything like that, and you know, we question the title or we question who's at mentioned, then I think it would be useful if you guys can rerun that video and rerun the YakShave so we see the new output. So we're complaining about something, especially if the YakShave is a month old and you're saying done, it'd be better to give you the new URL, which is a better YakShave. Especially now when it's going to have a watermark. Yeah, it's definitely an improvement. And ideally, you should be able to do that in the portal rather than you guys have some hacky back-end way of doing that. You should be able to refresh an old one in the portal.
I think we've figured out that now that we're storing all the stuff in the database, it shouldn't be that hard to show your previous shave somewhere. And then I guess we could just add a reshave button on that list, so you could go find the one from a month ago, press reshave, and then it should just redo it.
Yes.
Am I right in saying that, Lewis?
Yeah, more investigation will need to be done for this to make sure that we actually have all the required data. But we do store the video, so if we could just use that video and
well, that should be the only required data,
yeah.
right? All you need is the video, and then you just reprocess it from the start again.
Yeah, then I would say yes, we can do that.
Okay,
great.
Should we YakShave that?
That sounds like a brilliant idea.
Okay, reshave it. We want the reshave feature.
Yes.
Before we do that, or while you guys do that, I check the backlog because I'm 80% sure we already have existing items for that. But please start reshaving it.
Yeah, 80% sure that we already have one that says add a reshave button.
Yeah.
I'm fairly sure we have one for the showing your list of past shaves. I'm not sure if we have a reshave button on it. We have a retry for error, but I don't think we've ever said even if it's successful, have a retry button anyway. But I could be wrong.
Oh, so you want to reshave on all videos on the portal? That you
So
created.
even if it was successfully shaved, we want to have a reshave button. So you go to one that successfully worked a month ago, reprocess it, and confirm that now, since the update, it now works better.
Okay.
Because I think
we can-
previously all we said was if it failed to shave, then have a retry button, and then you could like reprocess it. But this is like even if it worked, you redo it.
Sure.
Do you want to quickly shave that, Lewis?
Yeah, I can start the recording. Do you want to talk about it, Callum? Because it looks like you got a clearer
Sure,
picture
I'll
about it.
talk about it. No worries.
Yeah. Starting Oh, I have to open Snagit for this one because we already have a recording going on.
Okay.
All right. It's taking a bit of time to load. Give it a sec.
No worries. Bit of hair stuck in the clippers.
Yep.
Gotta clean it out. Rinse it in the sink first.
Would it be useful to have like a instructions dialogue as well, like reshave with further instructions?
That would be a brilliant idea. Yes.
Yeah. If like something went wrong.
Yeah. Then you could say, actually, do this,
Yeah,
do
or
it
you
this way or that way.
assign to the wrong user or
Brilliant idea.
All right, it's ready. I'm going to record in 3, 2, 1.
Hello, this is an item for the YakShaver backlog. Please add a reshave feature to the YakShaver portal. This item would be dependent on having a list of your past shaves visible inside the portal. Once we have a list of past shaves and the ability to retry failed shaves, we also want the ability to retry all shaves, not just the fails, because that way we could find a shave from a month ago that, yes, it successfully shaved, but it did something wrong or weird, and then we could reprocess it from the start to make sure that the upgraded version of YakShaver now handles it better. And another brilliant idea from Eddie is that we could reshave it with further context or instructions, which would basically mean you press the retry button, it opens a little, I don't know, dialog window or whatever, and then you could type in, actually, I wanted you to, use Angular rather than your suggested React, or whatever feedback you've got for that specific YakShave. Did anyone else have anything to add? No? Okay, that's it. Lewis, please terminate the recording. Oh, actually, sorry, make sure you CC Stephen,
Oh, it's too late. I already
Tom,
stopped
Caleb, Yuli. That's all right. When the item comes through, we can add in all the CCs. All good.
Yeah, sure.
Quick question on bug fixing. There's been a couple. One was the one Christian talked about a little while ago. Was that in the sprint?
Which one? Sorry, can you say that again?
I think
Yes.
it might be that one down near the bottom. Is that bug YakShaver
Yes.
raises issue and wrong? Okay. Any progress on that one?
Correct.
Rick, do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, that one is about prompt engineering. So I'm still working on that. So my plan is to create, for each case reported, we're gonna create a test for it, and then we're gonna improve the prompt that covers all the cases that reported. And so far, I only covered 2 to 3 cases, and still,
2 to 3 out of how many?
Out of about 10.
Right.
Yeah. So this is hard, but once this is done, I think we can solve all the reported problems.
All right, beautiful. And is that just to do with it picking the wrong one, or is it also to do with when you try and switch it to a different one, it bugs out?
There are different causes. One is at the fixed spelling stage, it has misinterpreted some of terms as a project. And then so that further down, it picks up the wrong project.
Okay.
Yeah, so it gets wrong in the first early stage and it got propagated further. So
that's about picking the wrong project, but there was maybe it's under a separate bug, but I've been having trouble where I try to say, no, it should be in this project, and then it chucks an error. Is that a separate bug?
Like move
Is that
PBIs to.
recent?
I'm trying to move the PBI. So often it tries to do something. It ends up sending an email instead of doing the PBI, and I'm like, okay, well, let me move this into a PBI, and it worked.
Okay,
Is that
move-
one at the top? Unable to create PBIs in dynamic CRM for SSW2 organization.
Maybe. Yeah, Stephen, was that?
Stephen, do you want to speak to that?
You muted.
Stephen, you're muted.
Oh, sorry.
That's
Yeah,
all right.
that one was actually affecting only SSW projects, and that's not only just for Dynamic SAM, it's for all DevOps.
As
And
DevOps
that-
projects. Okay.
Yeah. That's the issue because when we sync projects, we sync from CRM, and it does not have the repo ID populated in the database.
Okay.
When
So that's
YakShaver
just an SSW problem. All right, and that's fixed.
Yeah, it's fixed.
Okay, good. Because that was that and it going to the wrong project repeatedly have been my two biggest frustrations recently. So it's good to see that one of those is fixed and one has progress.
Cool. Any other comments before we move on? No, I don't think so. Carry on.
Thank you. So now we're going to the code coverage. We have a slight increase, 0.4%, to 16.7% code coverage. Any questions on that? Okay, moving on. We had 3 production releases in the last sprint. Moving on from that, this one looks very scary since we had a drop in availability as well as a increase in failed requests. However, after we looked into it, this had something to do with the syncing of users failing. It did not impact YakShaver's functionality. It was still working, but the way we check for the availability caused this to fail and drop down. And the reason behind there was, Louis, what was the person name which got disabled or marked as inactive?
Anki.
Anki was basically ZZ'd, and that caused the user sync to fail in this specific case, which was reflected in the availability and the failed requests. Again, YakShaver's functionality was not impacted by that. Any questions?
Nope.
Good. Moving on, the monthly usage and the YakShaver leaderboard. We have Louis on top, followed by Madwix, Michaela, and Josh. Yuli, you need to do more.
I know.
You're not top 3 anymore.
Yeah, well, now that I'm not PO anymore, I have less reason to shave constantly. Yeah.
Cool. Moving further to the product roadmap, we have an increase in the bold epics. We have 11% change on the free YakShaver for public users MVP. We completed 1 out of 9 PBIs there. We also have a 2% increase in the client tenant setup. 1 PBI has been completed there. And then we have a 50% increase in transcript data source other than Teams or Snagit, Custom GPT, Loom, OBS, etc. And 18% increase in improvements asked for by SSW staff.
Okay. Can I ask, where is the branding one? You know, the watermark and intro, which one?
I believe that's in the free YakShaver for public use MVP.
Ah, that one. Okay. All right.
Add the branding in order to use it for free.
Oh, that is awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
So that definitely does not include anything to do with Teams, does it?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Good.
And you may be wondering why a bunch of stuff happened in the bottom 2 epics. That was just because I went through the backlog and started closing items that are either duplicates or not planned.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
Is this created automatically, or is there a lot of manual work to do this?
Do what?
This table.
Manual.
I think it's just copy pasted from GitHub, isn't it? Or do you manually calculate all the numbers?
No, only the difference has to be manually calculated, but we take it from our Epic
All right, you
screen.
take from last week and then compare to this week,
Yes,
but otherwise it's copy pasted.
correct.
Cool.
If no further questions, we move further to the backlog stats. As you can see here, the new count for this week is new PBIs 154. PBIs with the YakShaver label is 108. And completed PBIs is 115, and net change in PBIs is plus 39.
Cool.
The R&D that we did for this sprint, Rick investigated the YouTube OAuth documentation and its limitations. And one of the big gotchas that we found is that brand accounts are not supported by OAuth. And that was one of the reasons why Matt Wicks's videos were not uploaded properly to YouTube out of the 5 YakShaves that he did, because that one particular project was assigned to a brand account. And Stephen did some investigation with the FFmpeg library and how to use it to process and edit videos programmatically. And he did some research on memory management with seekable streams. Any questions on that?
I would say that generally for the summary video, we don't need, like, it's good to have this, but I don't think the stakeholders need to know it. It's just for R&D.
Okay, cool. And we have one additional member signing up on the waitlist this week from 112 to 113.
Cool.
We don't have any significant changes in AI tools being used. Caleb experimented with Claude 3.7 Sonnet on GitHub Copilot. And now we are on the retrospective. What went well? Caleb started cleaning up the backlog, which is...
Callum, not Caleb.
Sorry, Callum started cleaning up the backlog. And he's pretty happy that we made a decent progress on the branded videos and that we have a better idea on the free and public offering of YakShaver. What didn't go so well, what was standing out again was the big drip in the availability on YakShaver, as it looked pretty scary. And the first initial thought was that YakShaver was down, but luckily it wasn't. And noteworthy mentions on what we need to improve for next sprint is that not everyone realized that we need to do manual releases for front-end changes and deployments. And that we need to think more about edge cases and unexpected invalid values when doing our testing during development. That's it for the sprint review retro. Any questions so far?
Oh, all good. I do have a feature that I wanted to talk to you guys about if we're off onto planning.
Yes.
What's that, Yuli?
So one frustration I have with GitHub projects is that YakShaver always adds to the bottom of GitHub projects. We weren't able to, via the API, change the location. I was with Gert last week in Canberra and I was whinging about this, and he looked up the API documentation and says that it should be possible. So I'm wondering if that's new, and if so, if we can have it, because having YakShaved items at the top of the backlog for triage would be substantially more useful and stop the problems we're having where people are YakShaving and then never hearing back about it because we're waiting until we have completed 300 PBIs before we get to their new shaves.
But can't you just order the issues newest first if you're looking at them?
I don't believe you can order a backlog because the backlog is priority ordered.
Okay. I guess if you go to the issues rather than projects, you can. But yeah,
Sure.
maybe you can't
I mean,
do
yeah, if you want to use a bunch of workarounds in GitHub, you could probably find a way to do it. But I was thinking it would be good if we could just put them at the top, so we don't have to do any workarounds. That wasn't possible previously, but also a lot of things weren't possible. You weren't able to right-click on an item and move it to a certain position. You can now. So I'm wondering if now the API is caught up and you can do the same thing.
Right. My only concern is, I mean, that's your preference, and I'm sure it makes sense for a few use cases. But what if someone else wants their YakShaved issues to go on the bottom?
Sure.
Because they want to focus on what they already know about.
Well, I would be interested what Azure DevOps does, because
It does. It takes it to the top in Azure DevOps.
Yeah, that's what my recollection was. So it makes more sense to me to be at the top. But
I'm happy for it to be configurable, but I just want it to be an option because it's very like I'm not a product owner anymore, so it's less pain for me, but it was a big pain for me before.
Yeah.
And almost every time I have to YakShave an item, then go find it and then move it to the top of the backlog manually, which takes ages.
Right.
At least at the top of the next sprint would make more sense to me.
Well, I'm not sure about that, because
No,
it should
I'm
be
not
up
sure
to
about
the
that
product owner to prioritize what's in the sprint, not the person shaving.
Right. Now I know what you mean. Right. Interesting.
Yeah, I want it at the top so it's ready for triage, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, can I shave that? You guys okay with me doing that?
You are free to shave it, Yuli. Go ahead.
Very good. I shall shave immediately. Commencing shaves. Get back on my leaderboard. Okay, recording. 3, 2. I have a new feature request for YakShaver, please. When we YakShave to a GitHub backlog at the moment, it puts it down the bottom of the project, right at the bottom of the backlog. I would prefer this to be at the top of the backlog. So as a product owner, I see new items and I'm able to triage them and work out which needs to be in the next sprint and etc. This didn't used to be possible. This is an item I've asked for previously, but I believe the API for GitHub projects has been updated since then. So I would like another go at it, please. Thank you. Anything for anyone else? Oh, okay. Ideally stretch goal. This should be configurable because Callum professed a desire to actually have it at the end. So if by default, if we can only have it one way, I'd like it at the top, but if we can have it configurable, that would also be great. Anything else?
I'd also be interested to know if you can work around it by just changing the view in GitHub as well.
Yes. Okay, cool. Thanks. Bye. Sweet. Thanks, guys. All right, let's see planning.
You muted, Tom.
Thank you very much. I didn't realize. Great. Let's move on to planning. Let me quickly copy the same attendees.
By the way, I think your efforts might be wrong in your original email. I saw, for instance, there was an item that was in review that Stephen said was almost done that still was marked as a 4, but in the planning, it's not marked as a 4.
Say that again in this one here.
This is correct. I believe in the review email, your efforts might be wrong.
But isn't the review email telling you how much we estimate at the start, and then after the sprint we readjust the estimates, and then the planning it's got the
no. This email should show basically what was done, right? So and what's remaining. So what's remaining should be like, all right, this is how much we overestimated by, or underestimated by.
So wait, so this estimate number here is what? How much work is remaining, or how much?
If it's done, it's how much it was. If it's not done, it's how much is remaining.
Right.
So for instance,
the same number goes in the next email. How much is remaining?
Yes.
Right.
Okay,
basically,
I definitely can change that, but I thought this is a snapshot of the end of the sprint, which is those numbers.
Right.
And then
no,
in
no,
the
no. It
sprint
should be how much is
planning,
remaining, because the idea is, if I'm paying for this, I want to know, right, the things that they said that they could do compared to what they actually got done, and how much is left over. So the how much is left over is those numbers of the stuff they said they would get done that they didn't. So if those numbers are all 4s and 8s, I'm like, wow, these guys really didn't estimate well. Whereas if they're 1s and 2s, I'm like, okay, well, they almost got there. It doesn't matter. I'm saying for next time. Like,
yeah,
call it a retro note.
yes, please.
It's also useful because, for instance, that one of Rick's that I care about, like if I see the number there and it's a 4, I'm like, okay, there's still a day left on that one that I care about, as opposed to it being a 1 or a 2 or something. I'm like, okay, he's almost done with the one I care about.
Yep. Makes sense.
Cool.
All right, let's go quickly through the Sprint 65 planning. So we have the same sprint goals, roll out YakShaver to first customer on the waitlist, as well as finishing up the static branding to all the videos. So we have already these two in review, which is the pagination item count and the watermark. So hopefully we can finish that off. That would complete one of the sprint goals. Then we have a whole bunch of items pending as pending release. We have a few bug issues that we want to tackle this sprint, which resulted as part of the waitlist rollout.
Stephen, do you have any items that you are trying to knock over that you've had for a while?
Yeah, actually, the watermark one took me a little bit longer.
No, I know that's already done. It's already done. It's just basically the last little bits. Do you have some older things that you want to get rid of that you've had for a while?
On this table, there's only one watermark Wakanda assigned to me at the moment. Are
I'm
you
talking about your
referring to that
inbox,
table?
Stephen.
Oh,
No,
my
I'm
email
not.
box. Yeah, there are some leaderboard tasks, but
Yes.
we have think it's not a priority, so it's never been put on the sprint.
Yeah, it's not a priority, but I see that there's nothing significant there for you, and those ones have been there for a fair while.
Okay, do you want me to push those leaderboard work items to the sprint?
No, only if none of these people need help. If they're all fine without help, then I'm just hoping that you'll get to that. But the items on here are the priority, of course.
And we do have 3 unassigned bugs, so I
Yeah.
assume you'd be able to pick up one
Yeah.
or more of those.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Always swarm to the ones at the top. You know, Caleb, do you need any help with that pagination problem? No. Do you need any help with the Lewis, do you need any help with this display project name? No. Yeah. Keep going down until nobody needs help, and knock those ones off, and then hopefully get to those old ones to do with the leaderboard.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. Any other questions or comments on the current sprint plan for next week?
I think we're all good.
Yeah. Okay. So the sprint plan and review will be uploaded to our YouTube channel, SSW YakShaver. If you haven't subscribed yet, like me, please click subscribe, click the bell to get notified. Thank you for watching this video and see you next time.
Thanks, Tom.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Okay.